we are.
Are we live?
On our screen it says so.
Oh, okay. So funky sometimes. Can't tell from me. Let's scroll down.
We are live.
Okay, cool. We are. All right. Beautiful. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to part 1, episode 1, moment number 1 of the Gathering Movement. I'm Bridget Alien Cisco, and I'm here today with Natalie Lowry. Cannot wait. And we are here to talk not only about yoga, being a Reiki master, being a doula, but also the greater impact on humanity and what those gifts, what those abilities, and what those teachings are here to bring to the individual and to the world. And because this is the first time that I'm sharing this series, I want to give everyone a little backstory of why I found this to be really impactful and purposeful. And the reason is that most of us here in this space are in the healing kind of spiritual wellness world. And I had an aha moment one day, which was there's so much more and there's so many ways on the journey. There isn't just one way. And the purpose of the Luminary Leadership Society is to empower the person to be the leader of their life and to shine their light. But what if their light isn't just about being a healer? What if they want to be an athlete? What if they want to be in finance? So there's so many different ways that we can put the power back into the hands of the people. And that's what we're talking about throughout this entire series. And day 1, moment 1, here with Natalie, we are talking about the healing arts. What a beautiful way to kick it off. So hi, Natalie, and welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Bridget.
Thank you. I'm so excited. So you are a holistic leader. You share yoga, you share Reiki, and you're also a doula. So what a kind of triple threat there. What is a doula for anyone who is not familiar with what that is?
So there are a lot of misconceptions about what a doula is. I know that when I first embarked on my training, everyone's like, oh, you're going to be catching babies and that's going to be so exciting. And I thought I was going to be doing that as well. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not even ready for that. And I got into the training and I was like, oh, I'm going to be like their advocate. I'm going to start like speaking for people and helping them through the birthing process. And I quickly learned that that's not it at all, that a birth doula is someone who helps empower women throughout their pregnancy journey so that they can speak for themselves, so that they can be their own advocate, which is so encouraging because after speaking to so many of my friends and like family members that have been through pregnancies, like something that startled me was that a lot of them felt like their voice wasn't being heard, or that they had the experience that they had because they didn't know that there was another way. And a lot of them had a lot of discouraging experiences, and that broke my heart because it's such a joyful time in most people's lives. You want it to be fun and exciting, and you want it to be everything you ever dreamed of. And then to have that dream ripped away from you because someone tells you what you're supposed to do and they override your thought process, it's kind of discouraging throughout the process. So it kind of puts a shadow onto the entire experience from the beginning of when you find out that you're pregnant throughout the entire labor and once you have the baby. So I just find it so amazing that there are people out there like birth doulas that can help empower these women and give them the education and the tools and send them to present the right resources to make the birthing experience something that they want, or point them in the right direction to fit their needs, because it's not what my needs aren't going to be your needs. So to be able to feel empowered to figure out what works best for you, I think is the biggest takeaway as a doula.
Yes. And that goes to the entire greater purpose of this mission, which is to empower the people. And as a woman who is excited about having children one day, I do have this idea in my mind of, which is more of the societal programming, which is birth is scary, painful, horrific. And I appreciate you bringing this work into the world because you are here to change the narrative of that story that we accept as truth, as women especially.
Yes, and along with that, it's a lot of the groupthink is, well, doctors know what's best for me. The medical staff will know what's best for me. And while there are a lot of great medical staff out there that are going to be looking out for your best interest, you have to also keep in mind it's a business. So for hospital, especially in a hospital setting, they need to get beds turned over, they need room for their next patients, and a lot of the doctors and nurses, they're running long shifts, and so they're just trying to get through their tasks, their to-do list. So they're doing what works best for them to get them through their shift. And while that might be in your best interest at some times, it may not in other times. So knowing that you have other options, so that when they say that you have to do this, that, and the other, if that's not really suiting what your needs are or what the education you received was, you could either like question it or even have just the space to question it. A lot of people don't. So just knowing what's available to you is so important in that setting.
Yeah, I really value that. For you personally, how did you find your way into all of these different modalities that are ultimately here to empower the individual? Like, what was your journey like to this space?
So I was working at Walgreens. I was working retail management for over 16 years. And for most of that time, I was deeply unhappy. I was stressed out. I was overwhelmed, but I stuck to the path because I was making great money. I had great benefits. And I just thought that that was what I was supposed to do because that's what I was good at and that's what I had been doing for so long. So it didn't make any sense to switch gears on such a long-term career. And a lot of people didn't understand why I would want to leave such a stable company. And after being shown just the ways of how the company was changing with the recession in 2008 and 2009, and then changes again recently, it just didn't seem like it was aligned with like my wellness. And I was here promoting people's wellness, but I was like dying inside and I was miserable. And I just remember like crying a lot and feeling lost and alone and thinking that like there wasn't another way. And then I sought out some mental help and I was seeing a therapist for a little bit and she was like, you should try out yoga. And I was like, I've stretched before, like at the gym doing yoga classes, like I could do that at home. Like I don't need to take yoga. And she's like, I don't know. Well, just try that out. Maybe try like finding like a cool studio and take a class here and there. It might change your mind. And my mother-in-law had asked me to go to a class with her and I did. I went to True Nature Yoga and I fell in love with yoga. And I realized that there was a different way. Like I felt amazing after just like 1 hour's class. And I thought like, this can't be my life where I'm like working all day, building up for this one moment. And then that's what's holding me on for like the rest of my day. So I realized that I needed to get out. So I just kind of started plotting and planning my way out of my career. And finally last year I left. And I left actually at a perfect time. Like I left right before I finished my 200-hour training. And then I could work towards getting an aerial yoga certification. And within that time, I was taking Reiki certifications. And I just found that I was just gravitating towards all of like the healing arts in general. Like I just felt so different practicing Reiki. I felt so different when I was practicing yoga. And even just like how fulfilled I felt teaching both of those and like teaching like certifications for either of those, and just like finding that there are so many other people that felt the same way that I did, and finding like my little soul tribe and realizing that I wasn't alone, that there are so many other people that are on that main street and path of like what society says is success, and they're deeply unhappy, but they have no other way. They feel like they're stuck. And I have found complete and utter happiness on the other side of that coin of not pursuing that path. And so my goal is to help others see that as well, like that there are other options. And yeah, you could still work like the mainstream job and, you know, find fulfillment in that. There's nothing wrong. Some people will, but realizing that in yourself though, and noting that if you're not happy, what can you do to change that feeling? What are the resources or tools available to you to switch your gears in that way? And then that was more so for the yoga and the Reiki, but for the birth doula, I was married last year. My husband and we've been talking about, you know, having kids eventually. And I was terrified by the birthing process. I have plenty of friends and family that have kids. My older sister has 5 kids. And I've been along the journey with her for most of those pregnancies. And I realized like I knew nothing about like birth. Like I remember like watching a 7th grade video, and I'm so far removed from that birthing video. I was like, I don't even know how it works. Like, what happens? Like, how do you have a baby? Like, I felt like at 34, like I should have these answers. I should know the process, you know, I should know all of these things. And so I was like, well, maybe if I take like a birth doula course it'll kind of help educate me a little bit more and I won't be as scared. But also like it'll help me with yoga. I thought it would be more in line with my yoga, so I could offer like, you know, prenatal services with like yoga and doula services. And I took the first stage of the course, which was childbirth education, and like my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, there was so much that I didn't know, that I pulled aside the trainer and I was like, I feel so inadequate right now. And she's like, why? And I'm like, I didn't know any of these things. And she was like, you're not alone. And then there were like moms coming out of the training as well that were in the training with me. Moms that had kids 20 years ago, 30 years ago. One of them was a nurse. Another woman had 5 kids recently within the last 10 years. And all of them were like, we didn't know this either. And I was like, oh, so it's not just me who's like childless that doesn't know all of these things. Right. There's so many women that didn't know that there were certain resources and tools available to them as pregnant women. And I thought that was crazy because I'm like, women have been having kids for a bajillion years. Why do they not know like what's available to them? That's crazy to me. So I just thought like, wow, like what a world it would be if we knew what was available to them, that we were more informed. Like you don't go into a business without a business plan. So why would you go into a birth without the same idea, like without an idea of what you have to expect or what the outcome could be, good or bad, you know? So I just found it very important. And like after talking to people, realizing that so many people don't know, you know, I just thought like everyone, like I just like felt like I needed to start a crusade, and everyone needs to know and learn about like this process, and men and women alike, not even just, you know, birthing mothers, but like I feel like more partners are becoming involved in this, and taking childbirth education classes, having a doula that can be there to support you and your partner throughout the process is like so important, you know? So I think that was where my path was, as far as all of my path has been just in helping me first and then realizing how it can help other people.
Well, first of all, Natalie for Doula of the Year. If you're listening, props, hands in the air. Woo! Yes, 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 yes. And I think you touched on a lot of really important things that a lot of us feel, where it's like we feel like we can't make these jumps or we can't make these leaps because of what society says. And we also don't have the education. Like we just don't truly know. And this is one of the biggest things I've seen in the understanding of this Piscean age to the age of Aquarius, which is the times that we're living in now. Piscean age was more of a hierarchical, I always say that weird word, but you know, the hierarchy where you have someone above you telling you what to do in religions and business and organization. Age of Aquarius is where we're all here, you know, and we start to realize that, hey, these people might not have my best interest in mind, or not even that, but hey, I could actually learn this for myself. And with the advent of the internet and technology, you can learn, all information is highly accessible. And we're now moving into the importance of taking that information and allowing it to become your experience, which is what you are giving to people ultimately, the experience of them experiencing themselves. So these modalities, yoga, Reiki, being a doula, like what is the greater impact on humanity that you are basically putting out into the world?
I think you already kind of touched upon that. Like, I think the tools are available to us. Like, it's not, yes, it's nice to have guidance, and, you know, I'm a part of your soulful essence. So like, it's always good to have, you know, someone else like kind of helping you be accountable, or other people that may be in other phases of their path, you know, to be able to like check in with. But ultimately information is like mostly free in this world now, you know, so that we have the power within us to self-heal. We have the tools within us to self-heal. We have the tools and resources available on our phones, on our computers, in libraries, to do the research, to figure out what is available to us. But I think the key is that we don't know what we don't know. So having a resource available to be able to talk to someone, or to have, you know, someone that you can reach out to that can kind of help guide you along that path to figure out what works for you. Because, you know, as with you starting with yoga, your path started very differently than, you know, you thought it was going to be. And I thought that my path was going to be retail for a while. And then even once I hopped on the yoga bandwagon, I thought, oh, I'm just going to be a yoga instructor. And all of these other things kind of unfolded from that. And even from the doula, you know, like I'm already seeing opportunities. Bella's listening to my opportunities.
She agrees.
She agrees. But like, you know, realizing that there's other opportunities from that jump point as well. Like, it's not just, this isn't the end, like this is just the beginning of the tools that are available, and that you're always learning and growing. And even as teacher, you can still be student, and even as student, you can eventually become the teacher. So to realize that, like how you said, like, you know, with the Aquarian age, how we're like both on the same level, you know, you're always going to be learning and growing and developing, but you know, you can use your peers as resources as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of it is also seeing people in their wholeness and in their area of knowing, but also acknowledging that you have this knowing within yourself too. And it's almost like the moment that we say yes to ourselves, that we are worthy of learning something new, we are worthy of taking a different step on the path, the world really starts to open up. Like, I've noticed that for myself, and you've already shared that too. So I definitely see that. What do you think the world would look like when more people are empowered to take their life in their own hands, to really take responsibility for themselves?
I think that there would be a ripple effect of healing. I feel like with the power being in our own hands, we have the ability to change literally the entire world. And even just seeing the ripple effects, like within like my own inner circles, you know, like with friends or family that would have never been interested in any of this stuff, or kind of scoffed at it when I first started doing all of this weird woo-woo stuff. And now they're like, hey, can you get me this crystal? Or what about this? You know, and like, you know, does Reiki help for that? And do you think I could recommend this for this person? I'm starting to see that a lot of people are becoming a little bit more open to all of these things. And I really just feel like it started with that one step. And yes, it took me a lot of trials and tribulations to get to this point. But if I can make it a little bit easier for the next person to find that little tool or something to kind of start their path towards healing, like it's just like a domino effect, you know? I just think that the ripple effect of that is in itself like so powerful.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more, truly. What would be some of your advice or words of wisdom for someone who is kind of trying to find themselves? They're trying to find their place in the world. What would you say to those people? Because we've been those people too.
Yeah, I think keeping an open mind is very important, and realizing that, you know, the path that you've been on isn't the path that you're stuck on. I had a career counselor tell me that once, and he was like, well, what do you, like, when I was looking to figure out my way in the world, and I was trying to, when I first started trying to leave Walgreens, and he was like, well, like, what kind of job do you want? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, well, what are you good at? And I'm like, well, I'm great at management. I'm great at retail. You know, I've been doing it for like so long. And he's like, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that's what you have to be doing. And I was like, oh,
Damn.
And that hit so hard. And I was like, damn, like, all right. But on that same note, like realizing that your skills translate into different modalities across the board. All of the things that I learned from my retail career have translated into success for all of the other endeavors that I've taken on as well. And I've been able to help other people with that as well. So like none of your life experiences are wasted. Like it's just setting up the platform to find something new.
Yes. And you just hit on something that I've been kind of meditating and sitting with for a little while. And it's the ability to actually see your life as like this beautiful puzzle, and that all the pieces to the puzzle like play a very important role. But a lot of the times we look back and we instead think, well, we failed, or, you know, we did something wrong. And that's never going to be empowering. That's going to be very disempowering. So I love what you were saying. And the idea can be that we can look back at all experiences, you know, all your time at Walgreens, that taught you so much to be able to also realize the polarity of doing something you didn't like versus something you do like, but it taught you so much, and that every single stepping stone on our journey is there for a reason. It's part of the beautiful puzzle. It's like part of the masterpiece. And how can we take these little pieces and really be grateful for them and realize what they showed us, what they proved to us about ourselves.
Exactly. I always tell people that I used to get stuck in these mental loops of regret and be like, oh, if I'd just gone to school at this time, things would have been so different. If I'd just done this, things would have been so different. And I would like, literally, I lived in years in that mental loop of like the regret, and I realized it didn't get me anywhere. And when I let go of that like mental loop and realized that like literally every decision, good or bad, brought me to the point that I'm at now. And if I didn't make those decisions, if I didn't take those paths, if I didn't meet certain people, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I wouldn't be as happy as I am now. I wouldn't have been as fulfilled as I am now. It took me going through those obstacles to realize all of that. So without that, who knows where I would have been, you know what I mean? So to sit there and live in regret, it's not going to solve anything, but to maybe find all of those teaching moments along the way is huge.
I love that. And so to be able to find all the teaching moments, and then say that you're at a place right now where you're not feeling your best self, you realize that you still have power. Your power is in your words, your actions, your choices. And it can then just be as simple as that. Like, where do you want to direct your focus? Are you going to continue doing the things that don't serve you? Or are you going to take an empowered stance in your life and just say yes to yourself?
Exactly. I think that's so many people, especially now, like the last few months have been tough. Like it's just been a rough time for so many people across the board. And it's so easy to get stuck in those things, you know, in those emotions and those heavy feelings. But realizing that, yes, you can sit there and honor those emotions and those feelings and those experiences. And then, you know, but you have to let go of it at some point and then move forward and figuring out like, you know, and everyone figures it out depending on the circumstance in their own time. But just knowing that that can't be your forever mode, that you have to figure out what the next step is going to be, when you're going to put the next foot forward and what that's going to look like for you.
Hell yeah. I love it. I love it. For anyone who's here live, also, if you have any questions, I have it up on my phone also. Please write some questions in. If you have questions about being a yoga instructor, about practicing Reiki, about being a doula, please feel free to ask some questions. Or if you have questions on like how to really make these changes in your life, I'll keep a little look on here. We have Jillian and Brianna just said hi. Oh, hi. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Our fam, our Soulful Essence fam is here with us. So another question for you is, what is your kind of bigger message to the world?
That healing is not linear. I always felt like healing and success, it was like, you're going to figure out your problem, you're going to work through it, and you're going to move past it, and you're going to be on to bigger and better things. And same thing with your career or whatever your idea of success is professionally, you know, personally, that it's all going to be this linear trajectory up, up, up until you get to your goal. And it's not. It's like a spirograph. Like it's just crazy and loopy and all over the place. And sometimes you're like in a great place and sometimes you're not, but it takes you through those dips to where maybe you learn something a little bit new about yourself or something that might better you for whatever reason, but it's never linear and it's never going to be what society's telling you. I think so many people get trapped in that. And I think even now, I think a lot of people are awakening to a new idea of what success looks like. And even I myself have to remind myself of what that is, because it's so easy to get, you know, used to what that is, because we've been told like our entire lives, like you go to school, you graduate, you go to college, you get the job, you buy the house, you get the car, you get married, have the dog, have the kids. And that's not what it is for everyone. Not everyone wants the same goal, you know, and that might have worked for previous generations, but I feel like, you know, we're starting to now kind of realize, oh, like I don't have to do what my mom did. I don't have to do what my dad did. I don't have to do what anyone else around me did. I could do my own thing. And I think that's scary for a lot of us. And it's been scary for me. Like I'm not going to lie. Like when I left Walgreens, I even on the day that I left, I was like, oh my God, did I just make the right decision? Am I supposed to be doing this? But ultimately, you know, I knew in my heart that it was right for me, that I couldn't keep on doing this, that I couldn't keep on feeling this way. And all that I got out of it, you know, as far as like my idea of success was a salary with vacation days to celebrate the days that I was away from work. Like I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait. I get 3 weeks vacation this year, but like I'd be dying the rest of the year to get to those 3 weeks, you know? And I would like purposely have to sprinkle them in randomly to like get myself through the year. And I realized how sad that is, in retrospect, but so many of us are living like that. And I actually just saw on Deepak Chopra's page, he posted something about the old American dream versus the new American dream. And I don't remember the specifics, but it was like the old one was like, the house, the yacht, the finances, blah, 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 be rich. And then on the new one, it talks about success being like, finding peace of mind, happiness, fulfillment, like how our viewpoint is changing. And that to me, I think is so important, is like figuring out what works for you. It could be still some of those mainstream things, but make sure that it still works into whatever you're looking for. Don't let it be something that someone told you have to do.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So wise. So wise. Love when you speak. So, part of the gathering movement is this idea of abundance mentality, which is that this is not a pie of pizza. Because you're a healer and I work in the healing arts, it doesn't mean we're against each other. It actually means that there is more than enough to go around. So I would love for you to share how you help people in the world, through yoga, Reiki, being a doula, and how people can work with you if they are listening to this and they're like, oh my God, Nat, I need you, which I'm sure they are.
Yes, so right now I'm offering virtual services. So with distance Reiki, oracle card readings, private yoga, meditation sessions. Look out for some virtual healing sessions as well. And then once the world opens up again, the goal will be to have in-person events as well, all around Morris and Sussex County. But in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram at natalied.doesyoga. And I'll plug it in afterwards. And then on Facebook, I have my wellness page, which is Amaya Yoga, Doula, and Wellness. And I have a website, which is yamayayogaandwellness.com, which is in the works right now. So, but it'll be up with the services soon.
So stay tuned. And what does Yamaya mean?
So Yamaya, she is an African goddess. I had a healing session where she came through. And the person that was offering the healing service was like, she just really resonates with you. And I didn't know what it meant. And I was like, whatever, like, sounds cool, sounds woo-woo, I'll take it. And the more research I did, the more I realized how in tune we were. She's the mother of all creation and all things. She's a water creature, and I'm a Pisces. And she's often depicted as a mermaid. And she's considered like an African deity in a lot of like Yoruban cultures. And she's like the mother of all. She takes care of all things. And I've always had like a very nurturing sense to myself. And I always find myself taking care of people or wanting to help people. And I just, over the last year, I just felt that like it's just been something that's resonated with me so strongly, and the qualities that she embodies and what she kind of stands for. So it just made sense to move forward with, branding my company name with that.
I love that. The mother of all creation. That is so you. If someone were to attend a virtual healing circle or a virtual session, like what can they expect if this is someone who isn't as familiar with the healing arts? So
my first expectation would be to let go of expectation. It's going to be so different for anyone. With any healing, like even when I see one-on-one clients for Reiki, like it's going to look different and feel different for everyone. No two sessions will be the same with the same person, even with the same person. But just to keep an open mind and be willing just to take it in as an experience. I know that when I first started off, with yoga and Reiki and like going to women's circles and events, I thought it was weird. It was uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, this isn't for me. And like, now I live for them. So just keeping an open mind and realizing that you're going to find something out of each session, whether it be a healing circle, a Reiki session, a group class where, you have the opportunity to even meet other people. Because even in participating in events like this, I've met so many amazing women, made so many amazing friends and connections professionally and personally that like, it's like the best thing. There's nothing bad that can happen from any of these things,
I love that. I love that. Is there anything else that you feel called to share with anyone who's listening? Anything on your heart that you feel needs to be shared?
I think just remembering that you're not alone. I just remember feeling so alone and trapped and lost and scared and like completely overwhelmed with how I felt when I was in like my darkest stages, and like not knowing like what my next move was going to be. And like when I needed it the most, like the things that I needed found me and the people that I needed found me. And so I think it's just important to just know that like you're not alone, and to know that there's like people out there that want the best for you, that want to share in your successes, whatever they may be, and want to support you in whatever your endeavors may be. So just to keep down that path and keep doing what lights you up and like what makes you feel good inside, and knowing that like there is something out there for everyone. Like there's so many people that are lost and like, well, I don't know what my purpose is. And it's not going to be like, boom, like you find out like tomorrow just because you've been looking for it. Like it takes time. Yep. And it changes too. So just to keep an open mind for that as well.
Yes, we are never alone. We're never alone. We're never alone. And the moment we say yes to ourselves, the doors open. The people we are meant to meet, we meet. The things we are meant to do and experience, we're able to experience. But it does start with us, just saying yes to ourselves. And it might be like a little yes at first, like yes. And then it's going to grow. Yes. Yeah, the smallest little whisper. And that's all you need. That's all you need to just make a difference in your life. And everything that you shared today is really the embodiment of what this movement is, which is putting the hands back into the people, reminding us that we are not alone, that we have a community of people who want this too, that there is more than enough to go around. There is abundance everywhere. And we are really here to step up, show our gifts, and empower each other through all of our gifts. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you being the first person to share on here. I'm so, so grateful. If you want to share your screen for your little offerings, if anyone who's listening is interested in working with Natalie in any way, here is her incredible offerings. So take a little screenshot, take a little picture. Anything else you have to say about these, Nat?
I don't. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll attach the links to my Instagram, my Facebook, and if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Beautiful. Yeah, you have an awesome women's circle coming up soon in July. So I'm really excited to support you and see how that is going to really impact people healing with trauma. So cannot wait, cannot wait, cannot wait. I just want to thank you so, so much for being here and showing up today. And I just want to share my love with you right now.
Thank you, Bridget. I'm so grateful for you and giving me this platform and allowing me to be a guest. First time around again.
Yeah, she was my first guest last time on the Share Your Light series, just in case anyone was curious. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. Thank you for everyone who was listening. I'm just looking at these comments now. Oh, Amul tuned in when you were talking about Amaya. She said, how beautiful that I tuned in right now, the mother of all things. So, so lovely. So we'll go back and see those. If you guys have any questions for Natalie, we'll link all of her stuff. And I hope that, actually, I don't hope, I know that if you were here today, immersing yourself in this information, you will be leaving here feeling empowered, knowing that you can make a difference in the world, and realizing that we all have a beautiful part to play in this life journey. So thank you all so much. Love you all so much. Love you, Nat. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. All right. Thank you.